When it comes to resumes, there are so many different ideas about what a resume should look like, what should be on a resume, what a resume is used for. And I want to simplify that equation for you and give you some no-nonsense, undisputable, absolutely effective, useful information. I'm not going to review your resume for you. Don't send it to me. I don't want to ever see anybody's resume, so keep it to yourself. I'm not hiring. I'm not a resume reviewer. There are people that get paid to do that kind of work. If you want someone to review your resume, pay them to do it. Don't try to get me to do it for free. Not going to happen. But what is a resume used for? What is the purpose of a resume? It's not designed to get you a job. That's not what a resume does. It's used for one thing and one thing only. Pay attention. The purpose of a resume is to get you an interview. That's it. Anybody who hires a resume is not real bright, okay? They've got a little bit, maybe a lack of experience, or they just weren't gifted cerebrally, okay? But nobody's going to hire a resume. They're going to look at a resume and they're either going to say, this goes in my junk pile because this person isn't qualified, they're not what I'm looking for, or they're going to say, this person might be worth considering. I'll think about calling them in for an interview or scheduling a Skype call with them, or however that interview takes place. But that's the purpose of your resume. So think about this strategically. What do you want to say on your resume? What I do not want to say on my resume is anything that's going to disqualify me. I don't want to put anything unnecessary on my resume. I don't want to put, my interests are flying remote control helicopters and playing with my doggy and taking long walks on the beach at sunset. What the hell is that doing on a resume? Okay? If you've got that personal interest stuff on your resume, get it off. Get rid of it. The only reason you might consider putting personal interest items on your resume is if you've never done anything, you have a lot of white space on your resume you need to fill up, and then the only personal interest items that you should put on your resume are personal interest items which support the job you're applying for. So my personal interest of long walks on the beach is pretty irrelevant for a PLC programmer. But if I say my personal interests are learning programming languages, building databases, things that, tinkering with electronics, and okay, all of those things, that kind of sounds like, this guy, he's PLC crazy. This guy, he's all about the automation. When it comes to wires and switches and if statements and for loops, this is the guy to call. Even his personal interests are all about this stuff. But otherwise, don't have superfluous junk on your resume. Another thing that I don't ever want you to put on your resume is stupid LinkedIn buzzwords. Okay? Don't. Unless you're applying for a job that directly uses these things, don't sit there and fill your resume full of crap like IIoT. Most people don't care about it. They don't work with it. Don't put things like Industry 4.0. Everybody and their dog is talking, Industry 4.0. Oh, absolutely, Industry 4.0. Did you know Industry 4.0? Well, what are you talking about? I eat and breathe and sleep Industry 4.0. Keep that crap off your resume. Talk about what you've done. Okay? When you have some people on their resume, they have a statement of purpose at the beginning. I can't remember the last time I've seen one of these purpose statements or objective statements that was anything other than annoying, obnoxious, and ridiculous. I am a dynamic professional. A dynamic professional? Man, what the hell is that? Wait, what does that even mean? Who walks around talking like that? You're a dynamic professional. I'm looking for an opportunity with a proactive company that's blah, 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 blah. What? You want what kind of company? Why do you care? You're a PLC programmer. You're not trying to be on the board of directors. You're not trying to invest money in the company. You're trying to program PLCs for money. Okay? You don't need to worry about what kind of company it is and whether they're Fortune 500 or not. All you need to worry about is that they have enough money in their bank to pay you what they agree to every week or 2 weeks or month or contract or however you're working with them. So don't put all these really goofy, objectives on there. I'm looking for my next step in my career progression, blah, blah. No, because if your job is going to be programming PLCs for money, then that is your objective. That is your sincere aim. And if you're sending somebody a resume, I think they can probably figure that out all by themselves. They don't need to tell you that, they don't need you to tell them that you want to program PLCs for money. That's kind of obvious. And if it's not, when you send them your email and say, I'm a PLC programmer, I would like to offer you service. If I can be of use to you, let me know. That's going to be a dead giveaway. You know what? I think she wants to program PLCs for money. You don't need to put an objective statement on your resume. That much will be clear. Now, what do you put on your resume? This is kind of dependent upon where you live, because in different countries, they have different expectations for resumes. In the United States, I can tell you the smartest resumes are 1 page of paper that's completely full of text. Not 2-page resumes. Nobody wants to read that. 3, 4 pages, you're wasting my time, my life, my energy, my money. I'm not going to stand it. Sorry. 1-page resume, and not half a page, not 3/4 of a page, not a page with all the text over on the left and a bunch of white space on the right. Fill that page up. And everything on that page, pay attention, everything on that page needs to make me want to give you money. Okay? If you're saying something on your resume that does not command value, that does not say, pay me money, this is why I'm worth money, if it doesn't answer that question, what's it doing on your resume? Replace it with something that does. When you're describing your experience on your resume, don't talk about what you know. Talk about what you did and try to use numbers. I was responsible for the work of 6 different people. I automated a $2 million system. I programmed 150 different systems at this company. Do you see what I'm saying? That has some impact. Don't say programmed PLCs, automated systems, did startups. Did startups? Well, what, did you start up a toilet for somebody? What kind of startups did you do? Tell me. Give me numbers. I can't understand a system. When you tell me you did a hydrogenolysis system, that word is meaningless to me. I don't know what it is. But talk to me like I don't know what some of this stuff is, because a lot of the people reading your resumes, they really don't know. They don't know, they're not familiar with your background. They don't know the name of every kind of system and product you touched. And what's worse is when you come at them with a big word like hydrogenolysis, that just makes me feel stupid, and I'm going to stop reading your resume. When you use big words and industry terminologies that I don't understand, it doesn't make me think about how smart you are. It makes me feel dumb, and I'm going to throw your resume away, and I'm going to try to find somebody who speaks a language that I understand, convinces me that they have the skills I'm looking for, and sounds like a real person. Okay, that's just me, that's not everybody. But most people are not particularly impressed with those big 50-cent words unless they actually belong to the same industry. So be careful you're not alienating people with the language that you're using when you're describing your language. Say smart things, but say them with dumb words. Does that make sense? Don't try to baffle them with bullshit. Rather, impress them with your genius. Okay? Education, certification. Put those things on your resume only if they make sense for the job to which you are applying. Case in point, I have an MBA. That's great. But if I'm applying to be a PLC programmer, we're just going to keep that our little secret. I'm not going to put an MBA on a resume if I'm looking for a PLC programming job, because anyone's going to look at that and say, this guy's an MBA and he wants to program PLCs. Man, he's using this job as a stopgap. He wants to come in here and just get a few paychecks until he finds a real job for an MBA, and then he's going to float away the first chance he gets. So yeah, don't put something like an MBA on a resume that's for PLC programming, because all you're doing is disqualifying yourself. You're putting information on there that, hey, it's an accomplishment. It's something you're proud of. That's great, but it doesn't say anything about your value as a PLC programmer. It doesn't make me want to pay you money. It doesn't make me want to hire you. If anything, it convinces me that you're not the person for the job. If you have limitations on what days of the week you're available and what hours you can work, that's not something you put on a resume. If you have references of people that are willing to endorse your work, do not put that on a resume. Because consider this, if I'm one of your references, do I want you sending my name, my email address, my phone number to 200 or 300 people a day? I don't know these people, and you're just blasting my personal contact information all over the world? I'm going to be furious. And what's worse is when someone calls me and says, hey, what do you think about this person? Well, this is the 5th person that's called me today. I'll tell you what I think about that person. That person's an idiot. Don't hire him. I'm going to be ticked. I'm going to be upset with you. So if you have references, that's good. If you want to put references available upon request on your resume, that's fine too. But do not go and blast people's personal information without their permission. So I have not taught you how to write a resume. I've not given you a lot of specific details, and I'm definitely not critiquing your resume for you. But I have given you a lot of really good advice that people will, benefit from if they apply these things to their resume. Say smart things. Don't use buzzwords. Don't use big, heavy industry jargon terminology words that confuse or alienate people. Don't have white space on your resume. Don't use really small font, and don't use really big fonts. Don't use crazy, elaborate looking fonts. Stick with the basic stuff. Arial font, Times New Roman, stuff that looks good in print and on a screen. Don't get cute with your resume and try to be creative and use colors and pictures and things like that. Guess what? If you're applying to an ad agency, creativity is awesome. If you're applying to be a PLC programmer, that stuff isn't going to impress anybody, okay? Keep it simple, keep it logical. Don't try to reinvent the resume and, put everything in a different place to make it stand out. It's just going to make it hard to read, hard for me to find what I'm looking for, and I'm just going to give up on your resume in 5 seconds and stop looking at it. Write a standard basic resume, fill up the space, and fill it full of numbers, fill it full of actual statements and information that describe your knowledge and experience and convince me that you have something valuable to offer and make me want to pay you money.